Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Zoo Tours in my hometown of Cincinnati. This time around, I'm taking you nearly 70 feet into the air to get eye to eye with some of the world's largest raptors. High in the sky is the fantastic Eyrie exhibit. The zoo's first major raptor exhibit dates back all the way around the time of its opening. This was the Eagle House, a 45-foot tall and 90-foot long cage that was one of the largest of its kind and was considered state-of-the-art at the time. It held hawks, vultures, and of course eagles, all in the same space. In 1947, a newspaper article criticized the cage for being outdated. It wasn't until the late 60s when a new major raptor attraction was being built. In 1970, a new flight cage was opened. This time settled around the entrance where it would serve as a back barrier to the hoofstock exhibits at the time, and still does today. The cage is 50 feet wide, 72 feet tall, and 140 feet long, making it 7,000 square feet. Other than the extensive planting, the exhibit has remained unchanged, and to this day it has yet to be considered outdated. Today, Eyrie consists of two habitats within that flight cage. As far as I know, it originally held a mix of raptors like golden eagles and king vultures. In the early 2000s, it was home to bald eagles, and is still home to very large birds. So let's check them out. If you were to follow the map and start towards the left side like I do, this is the very first exhibit you would run into. A perfect way to start at a zoo. You are taken into an observation deck with a wide open window that looks out into a canyon, giving your first look at what Eyrie has to offer. This is the first of the divided flight cages. It is also the smaller one of the two. Here you are eye to eye with the zoo's Andean Condors, a male named Griff and a female named Laurel. In 1989, the zoo joined a program with the AZA to help return Andean condors to the wild. They even have an off-site facility that prepares these condors for their release. The zoo's current residents are here for breeding purposes. In 2008, Laurel laid an egg, but nothing ever hatched out of it. After that, the zoo added a wooden nest chamber, and the next laid egg brought success. In July of 2016, a condor finally hatched at the zoo, a female in fact. The first hatching of the species at the zoo since 1986, and the only 14th instance of this kind of birth at any US zoo in the past decade. In the photo, the chick was only 6 months old. The AZA decided whether or not this chick will be released into the wild or sent to another institution. Although the chick has left the zoo, I am not aware of its fate. You are led back out to the main zoo path where you pass the historic reptile house. From the next viewing point, this is where you'll find the division between the two exhibits, and it gives views to those who don't want to enter the observation deck. Here's another look at the condors, and one into the next exhibit. We are headed to the last viewing at this ground level, and similar to the first condor viewing, it's an observation deck. In 2017, new interactive graphics were added. And like the previous deck, essentially nothing is stopping the animals from going into the same environment as you. Here you'll find the very large Stellar Sea Eagle. The zoo regularly displays two of them, and for the past decade, a chick has hatched almost every single year. Until a couple of years ago, the Cincinnati Zoo was the only US zoo to breed this eagle, when the Denver Zoo was able to accomplish this in 2014. Their exhibit is the larger of the two, and it is much more detailed than the condor side. There are more trees, empty space for flight, and is much more detailed with its rock work, and even has a stream that goes down the hill to create a waterfall. There is more than one way to see this exhibit, even out all the way off of zoo grounds. For the next view, I am taking you now through a completely other attraction, a line of hoofstock exhibits located at the bottom of this hill. Meanwhile, as you go down, you get a side view of the birds. Here at the bottom of the hill is an older exhibit known as Wildlife Canyon, an attraction that I will touch up on in a future video. Here from now is a straight path that takes you along the entire length of the flight cage. A change in view to see how tall this aviary really is. We begin with another view of the eagle habitat, and where you get to see details that you couldn't see from up top. When either species gives birth, the eagle and condor, this is essentially the only view you can get of them. In the observation decks, a caged fence is brought down to block the viewing windows. This is, of course, to give the animals privacy, to either allow them to breed, or to give the parents time to bond alone with their chick. And this is our last stop, the bottom of the condor habitat, which is also the finale of the attraction. And that wraps it all up. I hope you enjoyed your time going through the Eagle Eyrie exhibit with me as your guide. I also hope you enjoyed my first ever documentary style video, which you will see from me from now on. For my next exhibit feature through the Cincinnati Zoo, I'm bringing back the promise of covering the details of their largest animals. See you next time, and be sure to check out many of my other zoo tours.